Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the morning homework session, trade plan analysis for Tuesday, April the 6th, 2014. My name is Doug McKay. I'm the head moderator and founder of Quantum Leap. Quantum Leap, for those that are visiting us for the first time or watching the YouTube video, we are a self-organized learning environment. We are a group of traders helping traders. This is not a commercial venture. This is a private venture. We have a Skype room that's been around in one form or another for over 4 years, coming up on 5 years, and we come together each day in a private Skype room to talk about trade ideas, market observations, etc. And then each morning we come together and I go through my analysis and set up my trading for the day. Of course, I'm not trading today. As everybody knows, my rules, I've been away on vacation all last week. And one of my trade rules is I'm not allowed to trade for 2 days after coming back from being away from the markets. That's because I'm not familiar with the harmonic rotation and not in sync with what's going on. Doesn't mean that I can't do observations for you guys, so that's what we're doing, and that's part of my morning daily routine. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube, we're going to go through a couple things a little bit differently today, but then we're going to get into the normal prep routine that we do, which is looking at the macro to the micro and both the key numbers and the trend before we get into some chart analysis. But I've got a couple observations I want to just share with you this morning, so don't skip yet. But then after I do that, when I get into the key numbers, you might want to skip ahead a bit if you're watching after the fact on YouTube. If you're interested in finding out more information, my email address is d.mckay@stealthtrader.com, and my Skype contact request is Doug_McKay. I'll be the one from Windsor, Ontario, Canada. All right, before we do anything, we've got to get the good old legals out of the way, so let's do that. This information is for the purpose of educating members who want to expand their knowledge of the business of trading. It's not for trading or investment advice. You and only you are responsible for the trades or investment decisions you make. Trading futures or any instrument involves the risk of loss. Please consider carefully whether futures or options are appropriate to financial situation. Only risk capital should be used when trading futures or options. Investors can lose more than their initial investment. Nobody at Quantum Leap is a certified trading advisor. We are retail traders operating within a self-organized learning environment. Past performance is not indicative of future results, and any trades that you see in Quantum Leap are for education purposes only. Please trade your own due diligence and your own trade plan. Okay, with that said, I wanted to share this observation with you because a lot of the times I talk about this particular trade and a couple things, and this is a good example of almost 3 different setups with a defined target. So you can see right here, yesterday into the close, we had this, the big sell-off into the close. And what that created was it wasn't quite a foo bar, but it did create this technical gap. And a technical gap is when the price action moves too quickly away from the 9 EMA, I use the 9 EMA and the 20 SMA, and leaves this technical gap right here. And these gaps are usually closed through time or by price. Time would be where we just go sideways here and the 9 EMA would catch up and close out, or price is a good example of this one where this was closed by price. But the reason I wanted to show you this is it's also got a Mr. Sneaky. So you got a tech gap Mr. Sneaky, plus as soon as we had the crossover, it left the naked cross right here at 1878. So you had the cross, it was left naked, then price action plunged, created the tech gap, then we had a Mr. Sneaky reversal signal in addition to the tech gap, which is one of my favorite trades, and then we rotated back up and closed the gap, but we went also and continued up and closed the naked cross. And if you do your own research on these naked crosses, and we watch them on the 5, the 15, and the 20 minutes for our intraday trading, you'll see that it's very rare that you get a naked cross that is left unauctioned. It's like a naked VPOC. The market has a tendency to return to the scene of the crime and to test that area because it's improperly auctioned. I mean, the reason why it's left naked is it wasn't properly auctioned there. So they're going to rotate it back there to test that price again. Actually, looking at this too, you get a nice tech gap Mr. Sneaky right here too. which was also a nice trade. So I just wanted to show you that because I thought that was a good example of it. What I want to do also is I just want to go through what we talked about yesterday, because even though I was away from the market for a week, with proper homework, you can pretty much pick up on these levels. So here was our trading chart yesterday before the market opened, and these are the levels that we put in. And we were opening auction out of range, and we were looking for initiative sellers to step in and take us away from the gap fill. And our first target was 61.50 with the naked close at 60 1/4, and then the main target below, which was that naked VPOC and CHVN at 58 1/4, and that was our target below. And then we were looking for responsive buyers to step in down here and rotate us back up to get the half gap close. The half gap close was just above the 68.50. If you remember, 68.50 was our line in the sand that we were using for short or long. I said above 68.50, get long. Below 68.50, get short. And once we got above 68.50, we rotated back up, hit our first target at 71.50, and this is the actual chart right here for the day. Oops, sorry, just lost my other. Stop clicking. So once we got back up, we looked for a test of the range low, which was our trade area at 71.50, which is a target, plus an area if you wanted to add. You could add here with the target at 72.50. That was the CHVN, and a rotation up to close the gap and test the value area low, which was our main trade inside of value was that CHVN and the microcomposite VPOC and the naked VPOC at 75. It was beautiful. And we said look for a continuation and possibly going up and testing the value area high up here at 80.75. Well, our high was 80 on the dot. So you can see, and again, this is after a week of being away on vacation, but if you just do your homework on a regular basis, you can get back into the groove really quick, and you can get a bead for what the market is. All right, so that just wanted to go over those two things. Let's go through the key numbers and get our homework out of the way. So again, we're still above the all-important key number, which is the 1837.75, which is the year open. So we're still in a bullish year. We have the year high at 1892.50. That's still a target for me above. I don't think that high is safe. Although I don't predict the market, I just look at where I can trade it. Our month open is 1879.50. We're below the month open right now, although it's only a few days old. And then, sorry, that's the previous month. Our month high is 1886, which was put in last week, and then our low is the low we put in yesterday at 1860.50. Going to the intraday numbers, we opened yesterday's market 75.50, outside of value, outside of range, and immediately we saw the initiative seller stepping in and created an opening drive. I'm sorry, this was the Globex open, 75.50. We opened at 65.75 yesterday going into the RTH session, which was out of range and out of value. And we were looking for those initiatives. We did get an open drive down to that, that 60.50. Our Globex low was 63.75, which was taken out, and our Globex high at 77 1/4 was taken out high. We took out both the overnight low and the overnight high, which is only a 28% probability, but sometimes it happens. So we had a normal variation day. Opening swing was 66 1/4 to 60.75. You can make an argument and extend it to 60.50, but we did get a rather quick reversal off of that 80.60.75 before going down and hitting the 60.50. So I used the 60.75. 5.5 point opening swing. One of the first clues that we look for in terms of whether or not we're going to get a rotational day or not. And it was kind of mixed bag because we opened out of range and out of value, which gives a higher probability of continued price discovery. But then we had a wide opening swing and led us to a rotational day. Same thing with the initial balance high, the first hour high and low. We had a high of 73.25 and a low of 60.50 for a 12.75 point initial balance, which is pretty wide. Generally, when you get a really wide initial balance, you're looking for a rotational day. Our 12:30 number was lower, 74.50. All numbers in here are in central. Our RTH high was lower at 80. Our low was lower at 60.50. And then we had the RTH close at 76, just above that 75, which was our main target yesterday. And then our VPOC shifted up to 76. So the current naked VPOC is just above the current microcomposite VPOC. Value area, our value area high was lower at 79.50. Value area low was lower at 69.50 for a 10-point value area. And we broke the ID inside the first pocket. That's the first 15 minutes of the ID being set, and we broke it to the high side. Volume was pretty normal, 1 million in the RTH, 1.1 in the full session. Just going over to the daily report, and I just got to take a quick look because we were putting new lows in, so we're going to make sure that we didn't put a new low in again. Yes, we did, 72.25. So right now, our full session ATR targets are 1872.25 to the low side, which gives us a 20-day ATR target to the upside. Lost my pencil. Of full session ATR target is 1891.50, just below that 92.50. And the full session ATR 20-day target to the low side is 62.25. Looking at the news, we had Canadian trade balance at 7:30 and trade balance for U.S. and it gave us a little bit of a sell-off there. We do have Canadian IV PMI and economic optimism at 9, so 30 minutes in we've got news. Of course, we've got all kinds of headline news right now with the Ukraine and the Russia situation that we've got going on. So let's take a look at the macro to the micro in terms of trend. I always like to start and look at the trends on the macro to the micro. The 9 and the 20 have good slope and separation. The monthly trend is very much intact. We're trading inside of the prior month's distribution, and the trend remains to be intact on the monthly. On the weekly, the same thing. We had, a little bit of weakness coming in a few weeks ago, but then they, brought it right back up, and since then they've been able to hold above the 9 EMA and the 20 SMA, and we are getting slope and separation. Possible head and shoulder pattern, but these weeklies keep looking like they're going to give us a head and shoulder, and then they fake us out every time. Going over to the daily. Our daily is a little bit more convoluted. It's very much no trend right now. We're just consolidating. We're coiling in this balance area that we're in. Still anticipating a major breakout. You do have another possible head and shoulder here. It's not really a clean one, but something to watch out for just in case. On the geometric chart, we're holding inside this new fork that I added yesterday. There's this great big huge energy point down here in the 1842, 1840 area. Really the number I'm looking at is 1839 because that's a key CLVN for me in terms of whether or not we get a rotation down to that triple distribution point between 35.25, 29.50, and 25.25, which I keep talking about. But we're holding inside of the upper line of the new downward sloping fork. A retest of that line will take us up to 78. A move down to test this center line of the new fork and the upper line of the downward sloping fork and the upper line of the longer term downward sloping fork. That will take us down into this area in around 1846 and put us in line to hit this energy point that's scheduled to hit us at sometime around the 8th of this month. Nothing's a guarantee though. Going back over to look at the trend coming in, the intraday trend coming into the market, the 4-hour trend is sideways. Really doesn't give us any information, but we are trading below the 9 and the 20. We've got some weakness coming in, creating a little bit of a technical gap right here against the 9, but nothing significant. On the 30-minute, a little bit different story. We do have a sort of a trend coming down here. A little bit of Mr. Sneaky came up, and basically I consider this a closed gap right here, and then a continued sell-off again. Possible Mr. Sneaky technical gap here. It's likely to get a rotation to the upside coming in on the last 30 minutes of the Globex session. On the 5-minute, you've got a pretty strong trend down right now. Couple technical gaps. We're closing this one going sideways, likely to close this gap out before we get into the RTH session. So let's take a look at the big picture. So I know this is going to look a little bit messy, but just let me walk you through it here. So currently we had the VPOC of the composite volume point of control shift up to the 64.75 area, 65. The microcomposite VPOC going back through from February 14th all the way through to yesterday, which I consider the large balance zone that we're in. The microcomposite VPOC is there as well at 65. And then we went up, and this 8150 we kept on talking about, and they went up and tried to hit it yesterday again. But you can see the sellers keep stepping in that area, and you can see within the current balance area that I've got drawn that goes from the 22nd of February through to yesterday. Let me just bring that one forward so you can see it a little bit better. You can see that the current microcomposite VPOC on a smaller scale is that 75, and that was our main target above above us yesterday, inside a range and inside of value. And it was a nice target. We went and hit it, and then we pushed through to test the value area high and that naked microcomposite VPOC from where they tried to hold value after going up and making the all-time new high at 92.25. So right now we are trading above that 68.25. To me, this is a significant level still, because we get below 68.25. I'd be looking for them to come down and test this 64.75, and again probably come down and test this 58. And I think they come down this time. They'll probably come through, probably all the way down here to this 52, 53 area. But as long as they're holding above 68.25, you really have to be looking to the upside and a continuation back up to this 75. Although we do have the 72.50 CHVN. Now, on a smaller scale, the value area high is 79, and the value area low is 65-ish on this microcomposite. On the where they were trying to hold value, and I'm going to bring this one in as well, you can see that it corresponds now with the 75. It was a little bit higher, and once we had the volume come in from yesterday, it shifted. So right now the levels I'd be watching is 68.25 to the low side, possible responsive buyers stepping in there to hold us above that CLVN with a rotation back up to 69.75 and 72.50 and 75. The upside line to me is the 79.25. That is the value area high, just the CLVN, and just above this value area high from the microcomposite at 78.75, and then the smaller one is right here at 80. So what I would be looking to do is above 79.25, get long into the 81.50 if you're not already long. It's hard to do much in here right now between the 72.50 and 75. We got to go to a shorter time frame to take a look at that. So let's do that. Let's pull our overnight numbers over to our chart. Right now we have 8150. That's that 8150. They went and hit it overnight. They didn't quite get there in the day. So our overnight high is 8150 at that former microcomposite VPOC, where they tried to hold value after making the new all-time high. And then currently we have a overnight low down at 72.25, which could go lower. We don't know yet, as the RTH session is not starting for another 25 minutes. 72.25, and then our overnight VPOC, which I don't think is going to shift, is right there at 78. Kind of a mixed bag right now in terms of the overnight. We're below the close, but it looks like, you know, the net inventory is long from overnight in around our naked VPOC from yesterday at 78. So we're going to open up. I can get rid of this so we don't need that, because I want to just expand this out a little bit further. So you got the 73.50 right here, which is just below the CLVN at 74.50. And you can see that the IB high from yesterday was right there at 73.25, and you have a a LVN from yesterday's profile, and then you've got the value area low down here at 73. So this whole area between 73.25 and 74, and even let's take a look at overnight real quickly. So you've got an LVN at 74 there as well. So what I would do is I would be using on the open, I'd be using that 74.25, because if we get above 74.25, you're inside of value on the microcomposite. You're above the LVN from the prior day. You're inside of the value area from Friday, and you're above the 74. I would even, let's shift this down to 74, and then you're, close to that magnet at 75, and you've got a gap fill. Their gap fill would be 76. So, for the upside, I would use the 74.25 as your line to get long into 78 while we're trading around here. There's really not much you can do if they get below it and we stay below it. I'd be looking for a rotation down to the 72.50, which you can see is just that CHVN. It's right below the 72.75 value area low, and then you can see the CHVN at 72, and then the range low from the prior day. So, and you've got, so far your overnight low at 72.25. So on the open, if we open in this range, I'd be using 74.25 as my guide to whether to get long or to get short right here. And if they fail, below it, wait for the initial balance, the opening swing to play out. But if they, get above and hold it above 74.50, then I'd get long into the 75 and the close of the the naked close at 76. If they get below it, then I'd be looking for the overnight low to get taken out with a rotation back towards the value area lows and this CHVN at 72.50. So my first target below that is going to be 72.50, just above the overnight low. I'm just going to push this to the back here. So that would be my first target, with a possible continuation down towards this, remember that 70.75, we talked about this yesterday, the 70.75 keeps popping back. The CLVN has really shifted to 71, but what's one tick amongst friends, as I always say. So my trade area, on this side of the balance around 72.50 will be the 70.75. And then below the 71, we want 70.75. Below 70.75, then I'd be looking for a push down to this value area low at 68.50 and the CHVN at 69.75. So I'm actually going to make the target at 68.75, just in front of the value area low. Actually, this should be a target. Targets are both trade areas and targets, but I mark them differently because it's where I'm expecting a reaction and a possible counter rotation when it's a trade area. And it'll also be an area that I'll do business where if we break through, if I'm short and we break below the 68.50, then I would add on to the trade for the continuation. And then the big number that we're and why I'm front running this value area low is this is also that key 68.25 CLVN. So if we break below the CLVN at 68.25, we're also breaking outside of value at the value area low at 68.25, and we're likely to get another push down to this 64.75, which is going to be my main target below. And I'm going to front run it just right here. In fact, I'm going to front run it at the open from yesterday at 65.75. Oh, what edit you? Sorry. Trying to be a little bit more descriptive of this. So this is my main target below, because if we get below this 68.25, we're likely to come down here and test this level. And then the other side of balance around that is 59.75, but really we want to look at this range low from yesterday at 60.50, so that will be a target in the trade area. I'll be looking for responsive buyers to step in there and keep us inside this distribution and main balance around the 64.75, 65 area. And then the key below that is our target, which was our main target yesterday, below at that 58.25. So the target below 60.50 will be 58.25, and the other side of that balance is that 55.25 CLVN. Now, I'm not expecting a move this strong to the downside, but we always planned for if circumstance. So below 55, I'm looking for a rotation down. The first target is going to be 53.25, that microcomposite VPOC. And our main triple distribution, I'm sorry, the 49.50 CHVN, and that 50-50 keeps coming back into play again. And then of course below 45.25, I'd be looking for a push down to this 39 area. And this 39 area is a key line in the sand. You've got, 39 CLVN, and you've got the 37.75 year open. You have naked VPOC here at 36. And what you are getting into below that 39, so I'm going to use 39. So below 39, I'd be getting short into the year open at 37.75 with a continuation towards this naked VPOC at 36. But we've got this triple distribution that I keep talking about, 35 and a quarter, 29.50, and 25 and a quarter. I'm going to just mark them in so they're on my chart so that you know. So 35 and a quarter, 29.50. If you guys have been watching the videos or in homework, you know these numbers off by heart by now. 29.50 and 25 and a quarter, which I'm still anticipating a move down to this triple distribution zone and just a real pop. The key big number for me for where I would consider a bigger move back into the 1700s is going to be anything below this 21 and a quarter. So that takes us right out of this balance, gets us below this triple distribution zone, and we're likely to go down and test the lower 1800s. Now, I don't anticipate that happening today. I'm looking at possible a move down to this 65 again, maybe 55 and a quarter if we stay below the 74 and a quarter, because we've got a lot of unauctioned territory in the lower distribution from yesterday, and this is not very well auctioned. So I'm looking at the possibility, and we talked about this, of coming down and getting stuck in the wicks down here in around this 64, 65 area around the CHV. And I'm going to actually move this down just slightly to 65.50. Now let's make it 65 and a quarter. I'll front run the CHVN by 2 ticks and 1 tick inside of the value area. Now let's look at the upside. To the upside, if we get above 74.50, and I keep needing to move that to 74.50. If we get above 74.50, then your first target above is going to be that 75. You know what? I'm going to move this down to 74 and a quarter. So the first target above is the 75. If I get long at 74 and a quarter with where I trade on my first scale, I'll be taking one off right here at the first target at 75. But the real target is really the gap close right here at 76. Because I think if they get above that 74 and a quarter, they're going to go for the gap close, and we're into this upper distribution. Come on. Doesn't want to take it. All right, and then the targets, I'm looking at a possible resistance here at the LVN at 77. And it's kind of the swing low on the close. And then above that, you've got the 78, 75 naked VPOC with the value area high at 79, which 79 and a quarter, which is right there at that CLVN and right at the value area high of the larger microcomposite. So that is going to be a key area for us right here at 79 and a quarter. Why it doesn't want to take it. All right, and then above the 79 and a quarter, then I'd be looking for a move up to break out a range and a move up to 81.50 again. But I'm really going to take the break above the value area because I don't think if we break outside of value, the value area high from yesterday is up here at 80.75, and you got the overnight high at 81.50. I really think they're going to take that out because that's that microcomposite VPOC up here. And then above that, I'd be looking for the range high at 82.75 from the prior day. Not yesterday, but Friday.
Doug, I'm showing
and then a break above 79.50.
Mm-hmm.
So you're off by a tick. I'm off by a tick. You want to fight about it?
I'll see you outside.
What's a tick amongst friends? All right, use 79.50 then. So let me move this up to 79.50. That way we're above both numbers. And then a breakout into, and I don't think 80 is going to be the number. I really think it's going to be this 80.75. You want to get funded before you get to this 80.75 with a probability of taking out the overnight high at 81.50 and a push through to this 82.75. Above 82.75, you've got your 85.75 and 86 last swing high, and above that, the big number above us is that 92.50, which is our all-time high. And above 92.50, the big extended target is going to be, and remember our 20-day ATR target is 91.50. So you know what? I'm going to bring this down to 91.50 just to front run that all-time high, and we'll put a trade area at the 92.50. So you can see for responsive seller stepping in, and then the big target above, and the centennial number is at 1900. And then if we get above 1900, remember that you get the rule of 10 kicking in, and we're likely to go up and test that 1910 on the break of the centennial number. So that's what I'm looking at. I was going to do a little bit on gold. Let's just quickly look at gold because we're still within this valid pattern right now of the and we had the descending broadening wedge, then we had, which is a major bottoming pattern, then we had the cup. We came down and validated the handle. We almost got to our target, which was like 65 area, and now we're starting to rotate back up. And this is a major measured move all the way up to, if we break above the right rim, doesn't mean you have to wait for the break, but if you see this break above into the 1400s, I'd be majorly long in gold because you got a major measured move up all the way up to 1600s, and I think that gold's going to be even higher than that in the next couple years. And then just taking a look at what that looks like on the composite. Again, we're come down, and we're almost all the markets are coming down and shifting the composite VPOC. My gold composite goes all the way back to 10/24/2008, and the most accepted price now is shifted up to 12.84. So we were in this balance right here with the value area high at basically 1300. That's that CLVN we were watching at 12.99, and now we're trying to hold balance up around in where they tried to where they found balance the last time. They went for a move up to where they were trying to hold balance around that VPOC around 31.32 area. So now we're here, we're in this upper distribution. The key line that you want to watch is 13.0460. Below that, your targets are 02, which is where they tried to hold it in here, 02, and then 1300, 12.99 area, because that's the the value area high, and then below that, same numbers that we keep talking about: the 92, 93 area, the 88, and then the 84 is the big magnet. And I think if we get back into the 1200s, that you'll get a nice rotation down to this 1284 again. If we hold above 130460 and inside of value at 1307, which is where we're currently trading, you've got first target at 0940 and the microcomposite VPOC at 1311, and then that key number we were talking about yesterday at 1315 area, really 1315 right on the dot. And then you've got 1318 and 1324 and then 1331, 32 area. So that's basically, if we stay above this 0460, try to find spots to get long into this. So watch your, I'm not going to go into the intraday and put levels on, but 1304.60 is going to be your main level. One more thing, let's just take a quick look at where we are on the Russell. Russell, same thing. The key line right now for the Russell is this this 1790 area. Call it 18 to make it simple. We got stuck in the wicks yesterday in the Russell. You can see there's a wick, there's a wick, there's a wick. This wick right here. We just sort of chopped around the 17. The current microcomposite VPOC is 20. The composite VPOC going back to October the 9th, swing low of last year, is 1121. So above 17, call it above 18, you want to look for a rotation towards 20 and 21 with the 2380, 2390 is possible resistance. And then above that, you want to look for a move to test this value area high and the value area low here in around that 28. But the big number above us is 3190. Above 3190, then I'd be looking for a move up to 1135.50 and the 1139 area again. And then once we're in that zone, I think we'll make a run to the 46, 47 level. These two microcomposite VPOCs. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm not going to stick around today to call the open because I got to get ready to take off. And as always, trade well, trade safe, and we'll catch you on the flip side.